Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's Hobby News. I'm Angela, and you're watching Hobby Night. Now, let's jump straight into things because Shadow Fox, you are right on the money there, sir, and I completely agree with you. Also, hello to Havman, as well as Shadow Fox in chat, and to anybody else that is lurking, hello to you as well. We have a couple different things that we're going to chat about today. Hello, Ryan! Welcome, welcome. Oh yeah, I was going to say, so we have a couple different things we're going to chat about today. But first, before we get started, I figured we could see how everybody's doing. How was everybody's day? I've actually had an absolutely fantastic day. Actually, my whole, last, I don't know, 3 or 4 days has been pretty great. I went to a farmer's market over the weekend, which was a local one nearby to me, and it happens every Saturday. So I plan on dragging the Chaos Cultist there every Saturday to do some fresh vegetable and fruit and other things, because they also had nuts and hummus. Oh my god, our favorite hummus place is there. I'm so pumped about finding them again. Back when we lived closer to Oakland, we would go to this farmer's market that was near there, and there was this great hummus booth that at some point just disappeared, stopped showing up to the farmer's market. And we went around to various other farmer's markets nearby, and we're like, well, maybe they just moved, because this one kind of, well, frankly, the one near where we were going to at the time kind of started to suck. And so, and partially because a lot of people left, including our favorite hummus place. And so but we never found them. Despite looking and trying and going out to other delicious farmers markets, we never found our favorite hummus place again. Until recently. Yes! I wanted it to be there. I told Chaos Cultist as we were approaching, I was like, man, wouldn't it be great if our hummus place was here? And he was like, yeah, that would be swell. And we walked the entire thing. And it was at the very last booth that we got to. So I had by the time we got to it, I had lost hope that it was going to be there, because I kind of had assumed we would have seen it already. But it was near the end, and I was like, heck yeah, so good. Bought 2 things of hummus, some fresh pita to go with it. I haven't eaten any of it yet, but we just got the basic garlic hummus. It's so fracking good. I love it. I also got a variety of fresh raspberries, fresh strawberries, some fresh grapes, some of the best, most delicious, sweetest grapes I've ever had in my life. And they're tiny. They're so bite-sized poppable. It's so good. And next time that I go, I want to get some fresh potatoes to do some fresh fries with burgers or something like that. They had peaches, which were super sweet and tasty as well. So I want to get peaches next time. I'll probably get more strawberries and raspberries because I can't help myself. Although I'm going through the raspberries faster than I thought, so I'll probably have to get more raspberries than I originally thought I would need this first time around. So there's lots of things that I'm very excited to be purchasing. And what's great is we're not exactly in a farm town, but we're near to farm areas, and so all of this is local. I think I've seen signs for some of the people who were at the farmer's market as I was driving to move out here in the first place. So that's really cool just to know, especially since some of them had U-pick areas, which I plan to partake of in the near future as well. But yeah, so I had a really great weekend. I've been working on my Blood Bowl team. So in addition to going to the farmer's market, something else that I spent a lot of time doing this weekend is working on my Blood Bowl team. I'm working on my vampires, as you may know. I meant to tell you, Chaos Cultist, before I started. I do think I might do 2 streams tomorrow, one in the evening for the Fallout, but also maybe a short, not maybe short, but a midday one for painting the vampires. So you may see that pop up tomorrow. That's my at least anticipated plan right now, because I want to keep working on them. I'm really happy with how they're turning out. Chaos Cultist and I actually spent most of yesterday and today both painting. He started working on his Orc Blood Bowl team, which is the Black Orc Blood Bowl team, the one that came in the newest large starter set for Blood Bowl, which I'm really excited to see him working on. He's building that up so that he can play some practice games against me, so I can practice, because I have my first game against Meg of the Hobby collab sometime later this month, and I'm terrified because Next month. Sorry, we're not in September yet. I was like, I think for some reason I feel like I'm already in September. We're not. We still have like 6 days of August left or whatever. 5 days of August left, I think. But regardless, I'm very excited about that. Need to get the team ready. Need to refresh myself on the rules. But let's see how you guys are doing. Mawai, all hail chat. Yes, absolutely. I completely agree. Havman, glad to hear that your day was great until the last 40 minutes of work. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the last 40 minutes of work sucked, but at least you got to immediately like leave that and then go home and chill and hang out and hopefully take your mind off of it. So hopefully that makes it a little bit better. Oliver, you had a great day in general. That's fantastic. Yes, I really like hummus. I don't eat it a huge amount. Chaos Cultist actually eats more hummus than I do. But I do really enjoy like fresh hummus, and the fact that I actually have the hummus place that I really like the most. Like, they have genuinely some of the best hummus I've ever had. And I'm so excited to try it again because it looked exactly the same. Like, and nothing looked like it had changed. And I think you've already had some of the pita, right? Is it basic? No, you haven't? Okay, so never mind. I haven't tried the pita yet. We haven't tried the hummus yet, but it looks identical to what I remember it being almost like 6 years ago. That's the thing, is like it's been like 6 years.
It's pre-COVID.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. But when we were originally like getting this particular hummus, and it was several years, it was like 2 at least, I think, before COVID when they stopped that market, because that region, like that area, was so in the decline in the year like leading up to the pandemic. So I don't know. It feels like it's been forever, and I'm so excited to have it. You work in an area where the public market is a norm. That's awesome. Like, honestly, I would highly encourage, if any of you guys have like public markets or like farmers markets like that in your local area, I do highly encourage you to check them out. If anything, it's just nice to walk around and smell things. And a lot of times they'll be giving out samples of like the various fruit and stuff so that you can try it before you buy it. At least they were at the one I went to. And oh my gosh, like that's one of the reasons I ended up buying the grapes that I did. And you probably saw me like holding the thing of grapes up in my community post if you check out those posts at all when I make them, which I do daily. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff and you want to see other content from me, the community post is a really good way to keep an eye on what else is going on, both project-wise for the channel as well as just in my daily life. If I'm doing something fun, I tend to post about it. But yeah, I was like so convinced to buy them because I was able to sample them, and that's why I know I'm going to be getting peaches next time, because I was also able to taste the peaches, and I was just like, holy cow, these are some of the best peaches I've had. And that's coming from somebody who lived in Georgia for a while, land of the peach. Although I don't actually remember if there were any like peach farms where I was in Georgia. I feel like there were in South Carolina.
It's much more South Carolina.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I remember there being in the state over, which would have been South Carolina, but I don't actually remember seeing any in like the state that claims to have peaches. So, what does that mean? Yes. Oh yeah. Well, thankfully in California, international cuisine is kind of like a thing anyways, but yes, I would say I would agree with that completely. And we actually did see a variety of international cuisine while we were there too, some of which we don't necessarily see as locally, because we went from a very like Asian part of California, so there was like Asian markets all over the place, lots of sushi places, a lot of hot pot places, etc. And we don't really have that as much around here. Huh?
A lot of dumplings.
A lot of dumplings. Although I have seen a dumpling place that I do want to like check out at some point.
Yep.
Because I do know that there are some restaurants around here that are like specifically Asian cuisine, which I absolutely love. I'm such a weeb, but I really do. I eat so much of it, and it was totally because of anime that I really got into eating that kind of cuisine. But like the farmers market had a larger variety than I was anticipating. Like they had like teriyaki booth, and I was like, oh, that sounds so good. They had like a place that, and I didn't try it. I think Chaos Cultists are gonna try it the next time we go. But they had like this great looking donut booth that I want to shove into my face because they looked like such good donuts. Oh no, you cut your leg. I'm so sorry to hear that. I would definitely recommend adding more fruits and veggies into your diet if it's not something that you eat a lot. I've been trying to do that myself, and honestly, I have felt like I've had a lot more energy, especially since like sometimes I just don't get a lot of good sleep. Like I have a little bit of insomnia sometimes. Sometimes it's hard for me to fall back asleep if I wake up in the middle of the night. And my cats, bless their little furry hearts, but they will wake me up in the middle of the night for food. And I can't help but do that. So I've kind of encouraged bad behavior. But regardless, like ignore that part. They do wake me up in the middle of the night, and it's exhausting. So it's been nice to feel like I'm getting a little bit more sleep, or at least starting to, because I feel like my diet's a little bit better. So I'm just not like shoving a bunch of caffeine into me and a bunch of carbs and like stuff that I shouldn't be, or at least that I like shouldn't be putting as much of that into me. I need to balance it out with more fruits and veggies. So like the farmer's market being there is such a blessing, and I'm so excited. In my area, I actually have the complete opposite experience. I will agree that food truck prices are expensive, but I also try to remember that they are literally a restaurant on wheels, and it's expensive to have to refrigerate and also be able to cook the food that they're preparing for me on like really fast notice. So, and I personally, but I will say that for me, I don't think.
We also only get food trucks when they're like something interesting. We don't tend to do like taco trucks.
True, I don't do a lot of taco trucks, although I have done some in the past, like one or two, like every now and then. But when it comes to food trucks that Chaos Cultist and I go to, like we only go to food trucks when it's like very specific events. Like Open Sauce, for example, had food trucks. There were tons and tons of options.
I see it at work more.
You did. And in my experience, like I'm just talking my personal experience. I think I've had like one memorable bad experience with food truck food. And I've eaten a fair amount. Now I haven't eaten as much as some people who like worked in cities and like that's what they ate all the time. Yeah, like I never ate as much as Chaos Cultist did, and I'm sure you've had like some hit or miss experiences. Yeah. But I feel like most of the time, especially if it's high turnover, I feel like the food trucks tend to be pretty good. So I've had really positive experience. I've also tried a lot of like different styles. I've also like one of my favorite food trucks is like the lobster food trucks. I don't know if you guys have ever had a lobster food truck, but if you ever get to do like a lobster roll food truck, oh my God, do it. It's so good. I love lobster so much. Okay. All right. Let's stop talking about food trucks because we're just going to make ourselves hungry. Thankfully, I did eat before the stream. I had beef nachos and they were delicious. So I'm not feeling peckish yet, but I'm sure as the stream goes on, and if we keep talking about food, I will. So instead, let's go ahead and actually focus now on some hobby news. Thank you guys, by the way, for chatting with me, sharing with me how your days have been going. I really do enjoy like that time and us getting to like hang out and like see how everybody's doing. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. And if you guys are watching this on demand later and you happen to miss the live stream, it's one of the reasons you should definitely make sure not to miss the live streams in the future because we like to chat beforehand and hang out. So it's a good old grand time and I hope you guys are enjoying. Now let's actually get to the news. One of our top stories today is I want to talk about how because of a person submitting something with AI art in it to a Golden Demon competition, Games Workshop has now come out and said no to any AI art used in competition, which I just want to applaud them for. Like, honestly, interestingly enough, they didn't actually get mad or like whinge about it. They didn't even rescind the guy's award because he won, I think, gold in the singular, actually here we actually have so single miniature, he won gold. His name's Neil Hollis. But yeah, this backdrop here is AI created. And GW has now gone, you know what, you did that. We're not taking your award away, but going forward, No, nothing can be AI derivative in your submission to any Golden Demon competition, any Games Workshop painting competition, which I just applaud them for saying no to, because I do think, like, I personally am not a big fan of AI art. I think AI has its uses in some elements in our lives, but I don't think that it should really just be used to spit out random images.
Maybe
I majored in art, so that just feels like it's kind of crapping on me and everybody who is also majoring in art, who has like a desire to have a creative job, to produce something for somebody to enjoy. It just, for me personally, this is just my personal opinion, and I know that there's a lot of controversy about this subject. You guys can debate it if you want, but this is just my opinion. I feel like it detracts from the people who put time and energy to learn the skill of creating something, when you can just type in a like prompt and an AI can generate some garbage that, sure, at first glance can sometimes look cool, but most of the time just looks weird, frankly, and really kind of like surreal and unnerving. You know, like I just don't like it. I personally don't like it. Like I don't like it. I would rather see somebody take the time to actually get a canvas or do it digitally, but still like by hand digitally paint their backdrops, get that printed out on some nice paper, maybe fabric or something, depending on how fancy they want to be. Or like just straight up painting it with acrylic paint on canvas, on wood, on board, etc., and actually using that. I just think it looks better than what this is, because honestly, it loses some life for me personally. Like this backdrop, this AI backdrop, just kind of dulls it down. Whereas this actually has a lot of life. I actually enjoy the fish in the water, which I assume is like a resin design. It looks cool. And then you get here and it just kind of like, I don't know, it just makes it look so weird. So really glad to see that Games Workshop is taking a stance of no AI in any of the submissions. If you have that, it's not going to be accepted, etc. All right, so moving on, let's go ahead and move over to DnD Beyond, because as you know, there's been a lot going on with Wizards of the Coast and the D&D product line. And there is a brand new edition of D&D out, the 2024 edition, and D&D Beyond is going to be getting the update soon for that product. And at first, there's been some updates to this, but I want to talk about this story initially, because at first, Wizards was basically saying that, hey, guys, we're updating this. Don't worry, if you want to play with the 2014 rule set, you can. But you're going to have to handwrite as homebrew options in our system all of those old spells and magical items that your character may or may not have had previously, because we're updating everything. And there's like no way for you to not have that happen. So have fun. You're going to have to rewrite all of that information. Hope you have a copy of it somewhere, etc. And that did not sit well with people, like whatsoever. And frankly, I don't blame people for that, because the idea of having to, after paying, mind you, paying for each and every one of those books that unlocks these various spells that you might be using on your character, having them disappear and change from what you paid for, and then having to manually type out using the homebrew system in the settings to actually make it so your character can function the way that you wanted it to function and had been functioning for all those years, sucked. But Wizards has actually had a recent update as early as August 26th, which I believe, is that today? Yes, so as early as today. Okay, so there's been an update literally today. Just a few days after noting these proposed changes, all these things about you have to do homebrew, Wizards of the Coast issued a statement on Monday that they would not happen in the manner previously described, which this is great news. Okay, immediately, that's sort of a sigh of relief for people who use D&D Beyond, because there's a lot of people, like all through COVID everybody was using that as their system for being able to communicate with each other, play their games, etc. It's really nice to be able to have your character sheet, etc., at the touch of your hand on your phone, right? I get that. I understand the convenience of D&D Beyond. I don't necessarily like the way that like Wizards monetizes it specifically, especially considering you like can buy a book and then not get a free copy of that on D&D Beyond with like a code or something like that. You have to buy it separately on D&D Beyond. And I'm like, don't we buy enough of your products as is, Wizards? Could you not like at least do that? Come on, guys. At least, Games Workshop does that, where if you buy the physical book for the codex, you do have the ability to unlock that codex in their app. Get with the program, D&D. But they've now changed it. They've now made it so that basically players who only have access to the 2014 Player's Handbook will maintain their character options, spells, and magical items on their character sheets. Reads the statement. Players with access to the 2024 and the 2014 Digital Player's Handbook can select from both sources when creating new characters. Players will not need to rely on the homebrew to use their 2014 player options, including spells, magic items, as recommended in previous changelogs. This is a huge, huge relief, I think, probably to a huge variety of players for D&D, because I can just imagine. I don't know if like a lawsuit got filed because of the whole fact that people, bought physically paid money for these digital products, and Wizards is just like, haha, that thing you spent money on that you had expectations for what it was going to be, we're just changing that. Screw you. I don't know if it was that, or if it's just that they like got a conscious, or if somebody like looked at it, saw the backlash, and went, "Oh God, we need to change this. Why do we keep making the same freaking mistake of royally pissing off our players and then having to backpedal on it?" Because they just keep doing it. Like they just keep doing it, especially with Dungeons and Dragons, and it just blows my mind. Like I don't understand how these executives can be so like blindfolds on, like, or blinders on, like they're horses with like blinders on, blocking everything from sight. They're just looking straight ahead, and all they see is we must raise our profit so that the shareholders are happy. That's all they see. But somebody got to someone at high enough power to make changes happen, because I do genuinely believe that if this had rolled out as originally intended in the initial changelog, you would have seen players, you would see like a small amount of players initially just dump off, right? Like they would stop using D&D Beyond, and then from inside it would just rot, and so many people would start falling off, and it would get like the larger the rot got, the faster people would start leaving, because more and more people would stop using the app because it's tedious and time consuming, and also going to put way more work, as the article suggests, on I think DMs, which I completely agree with, having to transition and like get everybody caught up, etc. I mean, it's already going to put a lot of work on DMs of anybody who's switching over to the 2024 new system, because it's going to be different, especially if there are any players that had any like long-term familiarity with the previous system, and you go in and like spells are legitimately different. Like they just mechanically function very differently from before. It will throw people off, and it's gonna end up being the DMs who are gonna have to pick up that slack and try to like coach everybody through it, who, by the way, are also all going to be learning the new system and having to familiarize themselves with it and rewriting their brains from all the old rules. I wouldn't want to be a DM in this situation. I wouldn't really, like, honestly, I would not, if I was playing in a D&D game and it had been going for a while, and then like mid game my DM was like, okay, we are going to go ahead and try switching over to the 2024 system, unless like literally everybody else was super gung-ho about it, like, and they need to be super, super, super enthusiastic, like, all right, yeah, let's do it. I've been prepping, like I've already been studying it, etc. I don't know if I could. I think I might drop out of the game and be like, I don't know if I want to do that like mid campaign or something like that. And I wouldn't want to start over from scratch either. Like, and I would feel crappy about having to like start a brand new campaign that was completely different, but in the new system. Like, there's just a lot of reasons that I would be like, nah, I think I'm just out. And I'm worried, like, I would really worry with the way that it was originally described in the changelog for it to be rolled out, that would be even worse because everybody would have to be converting everything to homebrew. It just would, like, be absolutely awful. Hello, Red Panda 7! Welcome, welcome. I agree, Oliver, there's so much heat on the new edition. Like, no one I have seen out there has, like, who's a fan, who's not just an influencer who's paid by Wizards of the Coast to speak positively about the product, etc. Like, I have not seen anybody who's like, oh yeah, the new D&D 2024, or like, is that what they're calling it? I guess it is, yeah. 2024 Player's Handbook. So, like, no one, I have not seen anybody actually, like, originally when they were announcing that there was going to be a new edition, people were, like, tentatively like, oh, well, you know, like, 5th was cool, and we've had some rocky transitions sometimes between editions, like, look at 4th. It was a very different system, and people did not like it, and it kind of failed really hard because of that. And then they brought in 5th edition, which did really well, and they've done some, like, revisions of it, but they've always kind of kept it 5th edition. They've added a bunch of things, lots of new content, and now I just don't really hear people being excited about the product anymore. Which, I mean, I don't really exactly blame them, because I feel like D&D has been such, like, it had such a big boom, not only during COVID, but, like, because of Critical Role and its rise to fame, and just, like, the explosion of other D&D based YouTube channels and content creators that ended up being out there, people like Ginny D, etc. Like, there's so many out there who was doing this kind of content, really bringing a spotlight to D&D, and it really, I think, allowed people in a time where they were otherwise maybe feeling disconnected from community, allowed them to connect to at least a small group of people and a larger community as a whole online, because they had this genuine love of this product, right? And now it's just kind of, I mean, this is unfortunately the cycle, I feel like, just all niche nerd products go through when they hit huge mainstream, like, or even start to get into the mainstream zeitgeist of the community, especially, or of the world, really, because, like, especially because we're so globally connected now. Like, you can't, if you have internet access, unless you're in, like, certain places where it's super restrictive because of government and stuff, you're gonna find out about a lot of these niche nerd things nowadays if they get to a certain scale in popularity. And D&D has definitely hit that in the same way that I think Warhammer has definitely hit that. Hence why we're seeing the Amazon product, which is going to be featuring Space Marines, as one of the key highlighted people. I mean, they literally started the ad with the Space Marines. It was so cool. I'm so excited. But yeah, like, it's sad to see this happen to these big brands, because once they get enough eyes on them, these MBAs come in and just suck the soul out of them for profit, especially because, at least right now, I feel like America is in such deep late stage capitalism that it's just destroying some of the things that I love, and it's sad to see. But not everything's bad, because at least Wizards is listening to some degree. Somebody out there in Wizards of the Coast is listening to fans and going, oh my god, they hate what we're doing. We should maybe not do that. And they have at least some enough power to convince somebody higher up to be like, hey, guys, people would really despise that, and we might lose a lot of people off of our platform if we do this, because that's absolutely what I think would happen. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's so funny to me to think of D&D's history with, yes, the Satanic Panic. You're absolutely right, Ryan. And being like, nowadays, I mean, I'm sure there are still some people who claim that, like really hardcore Christians or something like that out there, who just, that just kind of admits that, like, magic is real, and that, like, elves could be real and stuff too, which, I mean, just kind of is cool in my opinion. But regardless, regardless, it's just not as many people believe that, and so it's just really funny to think about the history previously. You keep trying to tell yourself that it's at least a 10-year edition cycle, unlike a certain plastic crack-based company who seem to have a hard-on for a three-year lifespan for its editions. I completely agree, Red Panda. It's true. Although I really hope that this 2024 edition of D&D doesn't last for 10 years. I would love it to get a revision and maybe a different name, maybe just 6th edition. I hate this yearly thing. Just let it be editions. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand what the problem is. Why are you making it suddenly based off the year? That just is honestly longer to say, and I hate it. I'd rather just be able to say 6th edition as opposed to the 2024 edition, the 2025 edition, the 2026 edition. No thank you, please. Just call it 6th edition. It'd be nice if it didn't last for that long. No, I don't think it was. All right, so moving on from D&D, let's go ahead and head back over to Games Workshop because they have some. They put out an article to kind of get you a vibe for the Imperial Agents because I bet this is not selling well. I really, really doubt this is selling well. I want to watch this video because I have not watched this yet. I figured we could watch it together and actually see what this is because I suspect it's not very long. And then I want to take a look at, most specifically, I want to take a look at the combat patrol for this because, oh man, I just do not like it. I do not like it at all. I do not like it at all. But let's take a look at what this actually is.
There are many ways to serve the Emperor.
Okay.
For each world conquered in his name by a host of mighty war engines, another is saved by the covert operations of inquisitorial warbands.
I know it's been around for a long time, right?
For every massed regiment of the Astra Militarum that breaks their foe with a
5th edition's
bayonet
been around for a while now.
Another enemy horde collapses thanks to an assassin's well-placed bullet. While untold
nice to see them using some of the
fight under the Imperial Aquila, shedding blood in the Emperor's name, only a select few can truly call themselves agents of the throne. Some are inquisitors of the holy orders, leading armies of clandestine agents, religious fanatics, and requisition soldiery. Others are swashbuckling rogue traders, commanding their hard-bitten crew and exploring the very edges
kind of
the
an
galaxy.
odd army composition.
Whoever they are,
because of
there is
the
always
Imperial,
an agenda, always some
Inquisition
preeminent reason for
and
their presence.
tied to that.
And
But then you've also got rogue
always
traders, which
plans
just feels
within
so
plans and schemes within schemes.
outside. They would
to
function
wheedle
outside
out
of the
heresy,
normal rules of the
demonic
game. That's kind of their
aberrations,
point.
or Xenos corruption, to ensure the safety of the Imperium. The three main holy orders specialize in slaying specific enemies of the Imperium.
Okay, so this literally
the
is
Order
a, have you
Xenos
never heard
seeks to
the
eradicate
Imperial Agents?
alien
Let's
threats.
give you a brief
The
rundown.
Order
Which honestly
Hereticus
is not
hunts down
necessarily a bad
traitors.
thing.
And the Ordo Malleus keeps an ever-watchful eye out for demons. Inquisitors from these ordos and other Imperial agents, such as rogue traders, have almost limitless authority to muster and wield the Imperium's assets.
That's
From
true. I
law
suppose it's not
keepers,
necessarily the
fanatics,
worst
and
option to be able to get
assassins,
some of these miniatures,
to other
but I just
specialists who bring their
as an
expertise to the
actual
battlefield
functionable
in the
force
name
in
of
the
the
game,
Emperor.
though,
Some missions
it
may
just
require
doesn't feel
Imperial
great.
agents to
Also,
deploy in small elite
there's so much of it that's
warbands to
repeat
conduct
of some other sets
covert
that
wars
I
veiled
personally
in
have already
secrecy.
purchased that it makes me
At
kind
other
of
times,
sad.
they strike in strength,
There's not a lot of
going to
new
war
things in
amidst
there.
the
Now, if you have never
world-shaking
got
fury
those,
of the
if you
most
never got some of those other
apocalyptic
sets,
conflicts.
Cool, great, awesome.
The Imperium must be protected,
But I have, so it just
whatever
feels
the
very
cost.
lackluster to me.
For Imperial agents, victory is signified by the total eradication of the heretic, the demon, and the alien. An Imperial agents force is as focused or as flexible as
God,
required by the mission.
I really
at
don't
hand.
like the code has many though.
When Inquisitors do take to the
Ugh.
battlefield, they are accompanied by their loyal
hurts.
retinue of inquisitorial
Especially,
agents.
he's so
A variety
boring
of
next to
assassins
everybody
wait in
else
the
that
shadows
around him.
until the word is given to to take out high-value targets.
It is cool that I do think you get
Units
the
of
assassins
Adeptus
in it,
Arbites
though.
exaction squads or Imperial Navy breaches
double-check that, but
prefer
I
to
think
get
you
up
do.
close and personal to take care of the God Emperor's enemies. When things get particularly dire, Grey Knights Terminators, Sisters of Battle, or a Death Watch kill team will be summoned
No one talks
to help
about the
slay
Time Lord.
formidable demons, heretics, or Xenos. You can build your Imperial Agents army in any way you choose,
genuinely one
and
of
to
the
deal
worst
with any
they've come
threat
out with
to the Imperium.
in design,
But remember,
in my personal
the
opinion,
Emperor's will must be done,
in a long time.
and the very
I
soul of
completely
humanity
agree.
defended.
Although the Sanguinary Guard are a very close second. Like, that wing loss of theirs, just... I still am not over it. Okay, so... Interesting little rundown, not bad. So they do give you further context for, you know, explaining the agents. But I wanted to take a look at the... open this in a new tab. The actual grouping for the combat patrol, because like if there's one thing in 10th edition that I have enjoyed, it's been combat patrol. I played in a combat patrol tournament. That was the word I was looking for at one of my local game stores. It was a lot of fun. I enjoy the fast-paced nature of the games, so I do enjoy that. But for me personally, because it does look like you get the assassins. Here, hold on. At least there's one assassin. So do you just get him?
I think so.
Ah, yes, you do. Okay. You would really, really, really have to want the Arbites in order to make this worth it, in my opinion. Because so many of these guys, like, this is a Blackstone Fortress miniature. This is available in a different kit. I'm pretty sure this is available as... Actually, I think these three might also be, like, a later Blackstone Fortress kit, or they came in something else, but, like, they're definitely available elsewhere. You can buy separately. Like, it would be so much cooler if this set came with all four of them, rather than just the one. Okay, Kotez does not come in this kit, so that's fine. I'm pretty sure he's available somewhere else. Like, oh, you know what it is? I think these three maybe it's these four come in, like, a different set. My point is that I don't feel like this is super worthwhile unless you specifically want the Vigilant squads. And then, like, these Inquisitorial agents. Actually, no. These are the Inquisitorial agents. So, I think these Inquisitorial agents were sold in something else. Like, I am 90% sure. I know he's a
Blackstone Fortress?
They may have been. It may all have been Blackstone Fortress. I can't remember specifically. I know he is. Like, this guy with the flamethrower, I have him. He's a Blackstone Fortress miniature. To me, it just doesn't feel super worthwhile. But that's also because I don't really care. So, like, they're cool, don't get me wrong, and I think the doggo's cute. Both of them. But, like, that's not quite enough to sell me. Also, it blows my mind that these Arbites are, in my opinion... Where is the... Do you have a picture of Kotez? Surely you have a picture of your newest model in this article. Are you kidding me, Games Workshop? Okay, well, let's just go shop the full range, because, like, we need to look at this. Oh, he's not available yet, is he? Because he's pre-order. Where... Okay, let's go back up to the video. I can't believe they don't even have a picture of him. They're so ashamed. Everybody's, like, ragging on this mini so hard that they were just like, we're just not going to have him in this article at all. We're not going to show the miniature. That would be ridiculous. All right, where's this video? Here it is. Please replay it.
Imperium.
Where are you, Kotez?
Of the throne. Some are
I don't
have
even
almost
remember where he was. It was so
covert shaking
disappointing.
fury as required
Okay,
by
here
the
we go.
mission
Miniatures.
at hand. When Inquisitors do take to
There
the
we go.
battlefield,
Okay. Go away. Okay, so, like, we've got him. These guys are more detailed. They have more going on. They have more purity seals than this guy. Like, he's got the 3 there, but, like, collectively, they look more decked out than the Inquisitor. How is that possible? Like, they came out last Saturday. So the army box. Okay, so the army box is on the store. That's good. Try searching the community. It's okay. We found a picture of him. It's fine. I know, right? No Eisenhorn miniature. Like, they could have thrown Eisenhorn in here. Like, they could have just, I don't know. I feel like, I just feel like they could have done better. I feel like they could have done better. I really just don't like this design. Good Lord. And I haven't met really that many. Like, I've met some people. I've talked with some people online who like it. And that's fine. The majority of the fans that I know have all been very anti that character. No, I don't specifically want the guy to have seals from head to toe, but what I would like to have happen is for there to be, like, some on this shoulder as well. Maybe some on the legs. Like, yes, I want him to have nipple seals. Listen, I'm one of the people who's disappointed that the modern Blood Angels have lost their nipple armor, okay?
And toes.
And their toes. We've removed the nipples and the foot fetishists. Like, what are we doing, Games Workshop?
Sensei will be so disappointed.
I know, Miyazaki-sensei would be very disappointed. Like, come on. I mean, I'm being, like, a little, like, facetious here, but, like, I legitimately would have been fine if they had left the nipples on the armor for the Blood Angels. It is iconic to the design. And they removed it because, oh no, nipples. We can't show that. Heaven forbid. And, like, this guy's he's just so boring. He's just boring. And it's very disappointing. Okay. Well, I think to wrap it up, we don't have a whole lot else that I want to talk about. However, I do want to talk about what's coming up schedule-wise for content on the channel, because we do have another Warhammer preview that is coming up this Wednesday, August 28th. It is going to be starting at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or I guess if you're in England, it'll be starting at 1:30 a.m. I'm so sorry for you guys on the 29th, because it's gonna be super early in the morning. This must be happening.
It's in the U.S.
It must be happening in Texas, isn't it? Where's the Nova Open? Is that normally one of the Texas ones?
I'm guessing it must be.
Yeah, it must be on the West Coast somewhere, because if it's happening at 2 a.m. for the Brits. I'm so sorry for that, by the way, guys. That's, I mean, I'm not in control of it or anything like that, but you have my sympathies, is really what I'm saying. But yeah, so we're going to be beginning at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, starting a half an hour before Games Workshop actually kicks off the stream, so that we can hang out, chat, see how everybody's doing, and figure out what we think we're actually going to be seeing. And I am super stoked, because if you look here, I'm actually going to zoom us back in because I'm that excited. You can see that we're going to get the latest reveals for not only Age of Sigmar, which is very cool. I like the designs we've been seeing from Age of Sigmar, so should be pretty top. But also Blood Bowl! Woo! My favorite game system! I'm super excited for this, as I am currently working on my Blood Bowl team. I've got a Blood Bowl League coming up. I just found out that actually Red Panda 7 sent some stuff to my P.O. Box. That's more Blood Bowl stuff, and I'm very excited for that, so thank you. Blood Bowl's on my mind, so I'm very excited to be seeing some new reveals for my favorite game. I don't remember if we've seen in the past, like, I'm sure we probably have, I just don't remember, like, what it was, but I have no idea what potential team we might be seeing. Like, regardless, I'm super stoked. Maybe we're gonna be Have we seen a vampire-specific star player yet? That would be the star player for the Thirsters, because, like, the Darkfang Thirsters? Because I don't think we have. Oh, we are probably going to see some new Stormcast Eternal stuff. Because we got all the cute rat boys last time. So Stormcast Eternal probably will see some cool stuff. You're absolutely right. So I'm excited for that for Age of Sigmar. I have not played Blood Bowl 3 much. I didn't really like what they were doing with that system. Like, you're talking about the digital game, right? Not the modern version of the tabletop gun, because I have played the tabletop. I have not played the most recent version of the digital version. I like Blood Bowl 2 when it comes to the digital one. That's the one I recommend playing. I wonder if Space Wolves are going to be on the roadmap as well. I kind of suspect that they will. I feel like a lot of people are chomping at the bit, pun intended, for Space Wolves. So I suspect GW will answer that call soon, especially since we have Blood Angels. It just feels like appropriate. I mean, hell, you might get them in October, and get your werewolves for the Halloween season. There is a vampire star player. Okay, I don't remember if I've seen him. Gnomes were the last team that we saw, and I do remember gushing over the birds. No, the gnomes were so cute. So what do we think we're going to see this time around then? Do you think we're going to see something? I don't feel like it's going to be Halloween specific, because we just had vampires like not too long ago, and I don't think they're going to repeat that. And we've already had brand new undead, so there's no reason to do that. You don't think you're getting Space Wolves until 2025? Well, I think that's what the roadmap's going to end up like showcasing. I expect the Space Wolves right after the holiday seasons for everybody's like grandma money to buy. That's my expectation. Like, I feel like they're going to be early 2025 then, if they're coming out 2025. I would be shocked if they didn't want to do them as a winter release. I mean, I guess technically like January 2025 or February 2025 would be a winter release still. But by that, I mean like holiday. I'm surprised they wouldn't want to release Space. Well, I guess, actually, now that you say that, now that I'm speaking it aloud, GW doesn't tend to do like full faction releases during the holiday season, because they always focus their energy on making the like 6 or so for each of for 40K and Age of Sigmar, the like big bundles for getting armies started. So I expect they're probably prepping that.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was reading comments. Oh my god, Slan for Blood Bowl would be so cool.
Get big ass player.
Oh my god, I would love that. Kislev would also be really cool to see. That would also be very appropriate to like coming into the winter like theme. Although I don't know if they'll do that because of like the, Ukraine-Russian war and stuff like that. I don't know if they'll want to use Kislev specifically for that reason. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. So we're getting miniature reveals for Age of Sigmar and Blood Bowl, which is great. As we've kind of been discussing in chat, we're also getting roadmaps for Warhammer 40K, Horus Heresy, Age of Sigmar, and the Old World, which is always really exciting because it kind of gives us a heads up of, hey, what are you going to have to drop a bunch of cash on, and around when will you be having to do it, so we can kind of budget things. 40K, I agree. I would love to see some news about some of the upcoming codexes. Fingers crossed that Space Wolves are on there somewhere, because I know a lot of people are wanting Space Wolves out there. I genuinely can't actually think of like a Space Marine faction that would be prioritized at this point over Space Wolves, of the ones that haven't already been released. Maybe I'm just not thinking of one. Maybe you guys can tell me if you think there is one. But yeah, I just don't think that there's anyone out there that's gonna like supersede Space Wolves in popularity for Space Marine upcoming releases. I could definitely see Guard being one of the things discussed and on the timeline. I just like, because especially since like yeah, exactly, getting more Krieg. Emperor's Children, absolutely a possibility, and I definitely think a high potential. Maybe that's what the October release will be. I could see them appropriately releasing Emperor's Children.
Blood for the blood god.
Are you doing the jumping puzzle? I was like, what are you doing that you're like freaking out over here? Chaos Cultist is currently playing Final Fantasy XIV, and he's doing one of the jumping puzzles in the Golden Saucer. And he's just, I don't know if you guys have heard him, but he's just like muttering curses off to the left of me. And I'm like, what is happening? So I finally looked over, and that's what's going on. I understand now. Emperor's Children will be January, you think? Okay, that's absolutely fair. My private channel 1, I have never played Infinity as a war game. I have a couple of sets from Infinity that I picked up. Actually, one of the times that I was at Gen Con, they had some deals on like a little starter set, but I didn't really do that much with it. I've watched a how to play and like 1 or 2 battle reports for Infinity games, and definitely felt interesting, but never really like lore-wise really grabbed me, and miniature design-wise also never super grabbed me. Nothing really against it, just didn't pique my interest enough to really like allow me to want to sink my teeth into it. I also he just fell. Also, I was not really a huge fan of the idea of having to cart around like metal miniatures. I never was in the era of GW when metal miniatures were like the thing. And so the idea of like lugging around metal minis didn't super appeal to me. Although I know it's a lot less, like a lot fewer miniatures than like a 40k army. So it probably would have been fine, but it was actually a little bit of a discouraging element to me wanting to get into the game. But yeah, I could definitely see seeing some guard. Age of Sigmar, I really have no idea where we're going to be at battle tome-wise of what they may or may not be having in the timeline. Horus Heresy, I'm also very curious to see what we're going to be coming out, because I don't know. I was never a big Horus Heresy player back when it was all the Forge World models, and so it was like almost purely resin, etc. And so I don't know what is left specifically from the Space Marine line or the Imperial lines for them to convert over to plastic, because that just seems to be what they're doing. Is a lot of their like key models, with the exception of like the Titans and various other things, are all seemingly being converted into plastic. Cursing at the game while playing. Yeah, that is absolutely the sounds of gaming. You're absolutely right. Oh, Grand Cathay would be interesting. Well, that would be in the old world. That could be an old world.
Is old world.
Oh, Blood Bowl. You're saying for Blood Bowl, like Grand Cathay as a Blood Bowl team? That would be interesting. I would actually be very into that. Imagine if they got like a Chinese dragon style model, since they have a lot of those in Warhammer, Total War Warhammer 3. Like, I would love to see that as a miniature, because I don't know. As far as I know, back in the Warhammer Fantasy Battles, the Grand Cathay never had miniatures. Like, they were discussed. I think they were mentioned occasionally, like in lore and in some of the codexes in reference, but I don't recall them having models specifically. I'm almost like 99.
They may have had some Dogs of War.
Okay, so they may have had some Dogs of War. That makes sense, because like I know Dogs of War had a fairly eclectic look and pulled from some of their offshoots randomly. And that was kind of one of the exciting things about Dogs of War. But I don't remember them ever having like a full-on army. Imagine if they did that. Like, imagine if for Old World, that's one of the things they did. Like, instead of giving us brand new models for like instead of redoing the entire Bretonnian line or Tomb King's line, which I think a lot of people kind of had some expectations of when they first were announcing Old World coming back. Imagine if they brought in just a brand spanking new Cathay like line. That would be so wild, and I don't know how people would actually feel about it, because I feel like it would just end up looking so Age of Sigmar aesthetically because of how like ethereal and like honestly rounded it'll all be because of the new like techniques and just ability to print miniatures and like the fidelity of them is so much better. Like you can get such smoother designs, curvier designs, and I just feel like it would look like it would be an Age of Sigmar model in Old World. That'd be wild. Old World is a once a quarter you're getting armies, except Empire or High Elves. You expect Empire or High Elves to be the next one to be announced. I bet it's going to be High Elves. I didn't think they were going to do Empire because of the I thought they weren't repeating armies for the ones that are represented in Age of Sigmar. Has that changed? Did they just say like fuck it, we're bringing them all back? I mean, I could believe that. Like I would not put it past Games Workshop to completely change their ideals. Chaos was announced for this week. Ooh. Oh, well, yeah. Sorry, we did. Yes, we looked at that because the Chaos Warriors came back, and that was like that's the only army I collected just before Fantasy Battles like went under and went away. But like I didn't have anybody to play with because my community wasn't super into.
I would play.
You would, of course, but it was just you. You were like the only. Like, well, no, not that that was a problem. It's just that, like, I feel like we would get bored because you'd only ever be playing against Chaos Warriors. How boring would that be for you?
It's you, so never.
He says that now, but this is like back like before we really knew each other, and he would have hated just playing my Chaos Warriors over and over and over again. Was that actually the intent? Were they going to launch it with Kislev and Cathay? I actually don't remember that. I completely believe it. Like, I completely would believe it, because it makes sense to tie it to Total War Warhammer 3. I've ranted about this before, but, like, it bothered me so much when Total War Warhammer 3 first launched. No, it was it was Total War Warhammer 2. It was before Total War Warhammer 3 was out. They were doing adverts in like the launch window for Total War Warhammer 2 for the newest game, but also for Age of Sigmar. They're like, do you want to play with these miniatures? Or do you want to play with these characters and models in the real world? Well, then check out Age of Sigmar. And I'm like, you are a fat liar, Games Workshop. This is not one-to-one. You cannot be telling people, by the way, those of you who have played Total War Warhammer 2, we know that you love Karl Franz, the Emperor of Man. And we know that this ad has told you that you can play with these characters from this game in this other game system, Age of Sigmar. You fucking cannot. Karl Franz is not there. Where is that miniature? Nowhere. Because they don't exist.
It's Sigmar.
That's not Karl Franz, then. It's Sigmar. It's different. It made me angry because it was false advertising, in my personal opinion. They were not the same. They were not one-to-one. The Lizard Men are not the same one-to-one as the Seraphon. Like, it's just not. Like, the Dark Elves are not the same as the Daughters of Cain. Fight me. I will take you on, because it's true. Exactly. Do you love playing as the vampires? Do you love the Von Karsteins? Screw you, they're not around. Here you go, here's some feral vampires that remind you of Nosferatu and not at all the fancy noble royals that you were expecting, that you were familiar with from the game. It just irritated me. And the thing is like, I didn't even dislike Age of Sigmar. I was like, no, Age of Sigmar is fine. Like, please, yes, it's great that you, like, this is a smart thing. You should be advertising the physical, IRL, real world, like, game system that you can play on a tabletop in your digital version of the game. But you should make it clear that they are not one-to-one stories. Like, Age of Sigmar is not Warhammer Fantasy Battles. They're not the same. So yeah, it really bothered me that they were doing that, but it was I don't think it lasted like a super long time, but I do remember it being there for a while, and every time I saw it, I kind of like had an eye twitch whenever it happened. But regardless, I'm looking forward to the Nova Open. I hope you guys are too. I do always really, really like these watch-alongs that we get to do, chatting with you and being able to scream in your ear when I get excited about miniatures and blowing out all your eardrums. When that happens, is always a joy. And there's always like so many of you that come and hang out for that. So I think you guys enjoy it too. So thank you so much for being there. I am looking forward to our 4:30 p.m. start time. Should be pretty good. Other streams that are coming up this week. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, I do think I'm going to go ahead and have an afternoon stream where I'll be working on my vampires. I almost have our first 4 boys that we started last week done. There's a little bit more that I need to do on them.
I'm rushing to catch up.
He's doing fine. He's already completed 4 of his orcs, and I haven't even completed 1 of my vampires yet.
You had weeks of head start.
I am slower than he is, and he knows this. And yet he always tells me how slow I am, and I'm like, I just paint slower than you. I can't help it. You're just faster than I am. I get distracted. I get distracted way more easily, and lose focus, and it's a problem, but I admit that it's a thing that happens, and it's just, we're gonna have to learn to live with it, everybody. But no, they are actually progressing quite well. I have the, mostly the shirt and skin tone of 2 of them to work on, and then just like finishing up some details, but I am feeling really good about how they're progressing. I will likely be priming up more of them tomorrow because I want to go ahead and start getting the actual footage for my tutorial on them started, just so that I can start getting that into a folder for Chaos Cultist for future editing purposes. So hopefully that will be progressing along. I've really been enjoying what we've been doing on the channel recently, and I'm looking forward to getting back into just an even more regular flow of content. It has genuinely been great, and I've been feeling very, very productive since the move, so that's been good. Okay, back to other streams that are happening. Tomorrow we will also be having a standard gaming stream over on my gaming channel, Hobby Night Gaming. We'll be continuing in Fallout New Vegas. That will be going through the end of this week, and then not that we're stopping on Fallout New Vegas completely, but we're going to be putting a brief pause on that because Space Marine 2 is going to be dropping on the 4th of September, which I believe is a Wednesday next week. And Chaos Cultist and I will be going ahead and starting our co-op adventure in that. And that's going to take priority. We will be just like kind of progressing along and chugging along with that. So I don't expect it to be...
It probably won't take us more than a week.
Yeah, I don't expect it to take us more than a week to really get through it. We will be live streaming all of it. I'll try to keep you guys posted on when those are coming out, and I'll make community posts here on the main channel to let you know around the time when we'll be going live over on the gaming channel, so that you guys can catch it if you aren't, for whatever reason, subscribed over on the gaming channel. What the heck, guys? Go subscribe over there. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers so that I can unlock the community page over there and start spamming you with more content. Like, geez, what are you doing? Just kidding. But please do genuinely go subscribe over there. It would really help us out and help continue to get the channel to grow, and I just want to keep boosting that up. I do expect Space Marine 2 to do a pretty good job for it, just because I mean, a lot of people are going to be very excited about that game. I know I am. I know a lot of people in chat are. It's going to be so good. In addition to that, let's see, Wednesday we're going to go ahead and have the watch along. I will probably not do any other streams on Wednesday, just because of the double stream tomorrow and then the evening stream there, so don't expect that. And then Thursday, I also will probably not be doing any streaming. If I do, it'll be an afternoon stream, because I do have an obligation that evening that I want to take care of. Other than that, on Friday, we will have our normal gaming stream in the evening. That'll begin at 6 p.m. Again, it'll be Fallout. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So I have all of that coming up. We do have some fun things coming up this September, so I hope you guys are looking forward to that. We'll probably have... I know we have our studio tour that's like in the works that we're planning. We're still getting a few things set up. But hopefully, yeah, hopefully that'll come out this coming Saturday. I'm really excited about that because the new space has just been so nice, you guys, like, and so very productive for me. It's been great. It's been awesome. And just like how it's been great and awesome hanging out with you this evening. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for us for the hobby news this week. I didn't really find anything else out there that was like super, oh my gosh, to talk about or anything. Although if you guys ever find anything, please do let me know. You can send me a link to it on Instagram or shoot me a message on Twitter or just tweet at me. You can always let me know in chat as well if there's things that you want to see me cover. Please let me know, so that way I can look into it and see if there's interesting things happening in those particular subjects. Obviously focused specifically on tabletop gaming news. That's really what we're trying to focus on here. If it's like a video game that ties into a tabletop game, for example, then that kind of news is fine. Obviously, we talk about Space Marine 2, for example. But I do want to keep it focused on that. But I am interested to see if you guys have other things you want me to cover in the future, especially as we're doing these live news coverages rather than the video versions that we used to do, which honestly I've been really enjoying. I hope you guys have too. Like, I just feel like this is a little bit of a better way for us to actually connect and really kind of discuss the news a little bit more. I think that would be great. All right, I think that is great. Yeah, no, I am looking forward to us playing Space Marine 2 as well. I think that's going to be super, super fun. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. If you guys have any other comments, make sure to leave them for me in the video below. And yeah, I'll see you guys later this week for more content. In the meantime, I have been Angela, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful hobby night. Bye, guys.